You can buy the warmest sleeping bag on the shelf and still freeze because the ground steals more heat than the air ever will. And a bad pad lets it. R value should measure pad warmth, but some brands quote a test they never ran. One goes flat at 2 in the morning, and the #1 ripoff is the first pad new campers buy. 5 that rob you, 2 that earn it, starting at number 5. In the 5th place, cheap, no-name Amazon pads flood your search results with flat-out lies. Brands like Sleepingo, Powerlix, and Gear Doctors love to flash impressive R values like 4.0 or even 5.2, but they never actually ran the test. In the real world, warmth is measured by a standardized laboratory test called ASTM F3340. Trustworthy brands like Therm-a-Rest and NEMO pay certified labs to run this test, so you know what you are getting, but these budget listings, just guess. A pad claiming a warm R value of 4.0 without testing usually behaves like a shivering 2.5 once you hit cold dirt. If you check the listing and don't see ASTM F3340 printed clearly, you are buying pure marketing, not insulation, and you will pay for it in shivering, middle-of-the-night misery. In 4th place, cheap closed-cell foam pads are marketed as tough, all-season gear when they offer almost no warmth. Brands love selling these things as indestructible, cheap solutions for any weather. But here's the cold reality. Most basic foam pads, like the Therm-a-Rest Z Lite, only deliver an R value of around 2. A rating of 2 works fine for a warm July night, but it'll leave you shivering by midnight once you hit frozen ground in the 30s. Trying to use a solo foam pad in cold weather is the warmth equivalent of sleeping on a beach towel. I use them as sit pads or as a protective bottom layer under a real inflatable pad. But as standalone protection? Forget it. A reliable 3-season setup requires an R value of 4 or higher, and basic foam simply can't get you there. In 3rd place, cheap inflatable pads with weak seams will absolutely ruin your night. In the gear store or your living room, these budget air mats feel incredibly comfortable. But the trail is a different beast. Budget manufacturers save money by cutting corners on the seam welds, using cheap heat seals instead of proper radio frequency welding. This leads to the ultimate backcountry nightmare, the slow leak. You fall asleep feeling perfectly warm, but by 2 in the morning, you wake up shivering directly on the hard, frozen dirt. Once that air escapes, your pad's R value drops to absolute 0, and whatever warmth you were promised completely vanishes. I have been there, and it is miserable. You end up carrying dead plastic weight that does nothing but rob you of sleep. While reputable brands back their gear with real lifetime warranties and include actual field repair kits, these cheap throwaways offer no backup. You are gambling your safety on a few cents of weak adhesive. In 2nd place, loud potato chip pads look amazing on spec sheets but will keep you awake all night. Many cheap insulated pads use crinkly internal heat-reflective films that screech like a bag of chips every single time you twitch. I have shared shelter with people on these things, and it is pure torment. Every toss, turn, or deep breath sounds like a mechanical crunching sound that ruins your sleep, your partner's sleep, and anyone within a 20-yard radius. Compounding the misery, these budget brands often use flat horizontal baffles. When you roll, you slide right off the slippery fabric, which means you spend half the night fighting to stay centered, while listening to a relentless, crackling plastic symphony. A pad can claim a cozy R value of 5, but if the noise keeps you staring at the tent ceiling until dawn, it is a complete waste of money. And finally, in 1st place is the $10 single-tube air pad, the absolute worst gear trap you can fall into. It looks like a legitimate sleeping pad on a screen, but it is really just a glorified backyard pool float. There is zero insulation or reflective material built inside this thin plastic shell. When you lie down, the cold ground quickly chills the dead air trapped directly beneath your body, turning your sleeping setup into an active refrigerator that sucks away your warmth all night. These cheap pads do not even list a real ASTM value because there is literally nothing inside them to measure. I have seen so many beginners buy one of these cheap mats, spend a miserable, sleepless night shivering, and wrongly conclude that camping is just painful. But the concept works fine. This useless plastic tube is the problem. You also get a fragile, slippery surface that easily punctures and leaks air by midnight. It is a total waste of money. First up, the Therm-a-Rest NeoAir XLite NXT is the undisputed champion if you want to stop shivering without carrying a brick in your pack. I have slept on a lot of garbage, but this pad actually backs up its claims with an ASTM-tested R value of 4.5 while weighing a mere 13 ounces. Inside, a system called the Triangular Core Matrix reflects your body heat right back at you, meaning you stay warm even when the ground is freezing. The brand also fixed the loudest issue, that horrible crinkly noise that sounded like paper bags in previous models. They throw in a patch kit and a limited lifetime warranty. But here's the catch. It costs about $210. The 3-inch depth feels a bit flat if you roll around, and that wing lock valve has a weird learning curve you have to practice at home. And finally, in first place is the NEMO Tensor All Season, the absolute best all-around option if you want one pad to handle almost any trip. While the XLite is great for counting ounces, I prefer this pad because it gives you a much better mix of warmth, stability, and quiet comfort. It delivers an ASTM-tested R value of 5.4, which easily handles freezing ground, yet it still weighs only about 1 pound. NEMO uses a dispersed space frame baffle design that keeps the pad flat and stable, so side sleepers like me don't bottom out when rolling over. They also put a tough 40 denier nylon on the bottom to prevent trail punctures, and they back it with a lifetime warranty. It's also remarkably quiet when you shift around, but I have to be honest about the catches. That top valve can pop open if you accidentally lean directly on it, and at over $200, it's a serious investment. But if you want a warm, quiet sleep every single night, this is buy once gear. Subscribe for more honest gear reviews. Additionally, you can avoid getting ripped off entirely by running any pad through 4 quick checks before handing over your cash. First, verify that the R value is ASTM F3340 tested. If that exact certification is missing, the brand is just guessing, and you will freeze. Second, match that tested R value to your season. You need an R value of 2 for summer, 4 to 5 for solid 3-season camping, and at least 5 for winter on snow. Third, look for a real lifetime warranty and an included repair kit, because cheap heat-welded seams love to leak at 2 in the morning. Fourth, make sure the baffle design matches your sleep style. If you roll on your side, you need dispersed baffles and at least 3 inches of thickness so you don't bottom out. Nail these checks, and you will sleep warm instead of throwing money away on trash. Subscribe for more honest gear reviews. Across all 7 brands, a harsh pattern emerges. Cheap gear cuts corners on safety standards to maximize profit on Amazon. If a company won't pay for independent testing, they don't care about your safety in the backcountry. Subscribe for more honest gear breakdowns.